Yo, what's up YouTube? Tyler back here in the workshop Saturday morning, pretty early. Well, not so early, I guess. Slept in a little bit. But took the mini bike out for its maiden voyage yesterday, so let's tell you about the fails and successes of this little turd. Alright, so first failure. Wonder, can you pick it out? Yeah, that's right, exhaust. Riding down the trail, and all of a sudden it got really loud, and the thing came to a dead stop. The muffler broke right off. I think it probably should have supported it, but doing repeated wheelies and stuff like that, and going, ass over tea kettle probably didn't help any. But what are you gonna do? But the header wrap actually dropped the muffler between the motor and the rear tire, and it bound up against the chain, I think it was, and brought me to a dead stop. And shortly after that's when my chain started popping off. I'm not sure if the exhaust had anything to do with that. It may have popped the master link, which is like perfect timing, or the tension. As I had this pretty tight when I first took it out, and I think it needs a tensioner because it does have potential for jumping off. I tried pushing the chain over as far as I could and rotating the tire, and it looked like the chain started to ride up along the side of the link. So I'm going to be fabricating a chain tensioner today, I think, and probably a new exhaust. So let's see what happens. Alright, so I made a run to the local hardware store, Lowe's, Tractor Supply, blah blah blah. Picked up some goodies. As you can see here, I got on the table. I've got all my stuff that I've kind of found for my tensioner. You see, these are nylon spacers. I'm going to kind of double them up. I'm not too sure how well they're going to hold up, but they'll work until maybe I can get my hands on some material called Delrin, which is a very hard plastic, which I think worked fairly well for this. The cool thing, always something good to have in the workshop. Various springs, as you never know what projects you got going on. These would be good. And then I've got some long bolts here. Got to make sure you have the shoulder. That was one thing I was concerned about, is I wanted the shoulder so that these bushings would ride on that rather than threads, because the threads would tear apart the inside. Because I want it to be able to move. I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on it to see what happens. And then over here, you see I got a piece of EMT conduit pipe or something like that. It's about a 1/16 inch wall, 1 inch, and just so happens it slides over the exhaust pipe there. So my original exhaust pipe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off before that original weld, because there's really no other crap weld down in this section, and it's going to slip over and get a nice bead on it. But first things first, I got to get that tensioner on, and then I'm going to work with the exhaust. Tensioner shouldn't take too long. I'm going to use some 3/16 inch 1 inch wide flat bar, and drill some holes and work some magic, and then I'll get back to you. Alright, so this is the tensioner bracket I came up with. I just welded it up so she's a little warm still. You can see there I've got a hole for the spring, and then that hole there will be on this shaft here, the old keeper for the brake. I put 2 jam nuts on there because I needed some space to bump that out without having to bend the flat bar. I was trying to keep it straight. And not only that, but if I need to make adjustments out, I can use both of these in conjunction with each other. Just bring that one up loosely against the flat bar, and then snug it down with this one, because I'd like to keep it a little bit loose in there so it freely actuates. And then you see I've got the spring, which is going to be here, so you can kind of picture catching a chain coming down and then 90 degrees up, and this will be stretched pulling on that. And this is kind of the configuration I came up with. Is I've got this 3/8 bolt, like I said, with if it would focus. All right, so got the shoulder. Gonna just do a standard little washer just to kind of get us off the flat bar in case these want to spin. Because I'm gonna be putting some grease on there. So I have the large washer, the 2 nylon spacers side by side, and then back to this and a small washer. But as you can see, I've got almost a whole extra set, which will be sticking off the back. It's just it's kind of a good idea. I kind of want to keep some spare parts, strategically placed, because yesterday when I broke down, I wish I had, stashed some spare parts. And then this is going to be the vital piece of this, which is a lock nut. The nice thing about this is the fact that I can tighten this up and it's going to stay where I leave it, so I'm not trying to tighten this down so tight because naturally I want these to spin a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for this to cool a little bit, and then I might do a dry fit, put it on, see how it looks, and then tear it all down, squirt some paint on this, kind of protect it a little bit, and then we'll be moving on to the next piece, the exhaust. But alright, here we go. Alright, so we get the tensioner on. You can see it's not a lot of tension on the spring right at the moment, but it is holding the chain quite tight. So I'm pretty excited about that. You see I've got quite a bit of slop in the chain. One thing I did notice is that the chain seems to come in contact with that lock nut down there. So what I'm going to do when I tear this all down to paint this up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this lock nut down to a half nut, and I'm going to shift the motor forward and get better tightness on this. So this, the spring, it'll be stretched a little bit further, but it'll work like it's supposed to as it's tighten it up, and as it starts to slacken up, it holds tension, so I won't jump teeth on this turd. So I'm gonna do that, and then that's gonna be off camera. Get that all set up and put to bed. I'm gonna start on this, and I'll keep you guys informed as I'm running through. A few more details to come. All right, there's first section of the exhaust. As you can see, I used the other flange that I had off my exhaust that broke. Cut it off at an angle. Cut this pipe at an angle. Just one thing to note about this was it ABT whatever conduit. It has a galvanized coating, so if you're going to be welding on it or grinding on it, you should wear a respirator or strip back the galvanized layer, top layer there before you start really producing heat, because it is not very good for you. Just heads up. And you see I've got tailpipe here is not quite flush with the back. I might snip that back a little bit just so when I build my muffler section, it won't be so bad. So that's going to be kind of like the pipe that goes on that diameter. We should just do it like that. No, I'm just kidding. But I might try and make a Holden built muffler using that. Oh yeah, big pipe here. You see this? And the sheet metal here. That's my gas tank project. So that's coming up. Probably won't be on this episode just because it's going to take a lot of time to